The tenant, this college girl.
Tina Booker.
Yeah, Tina Booker. She seem okay to you?
Yes, like I said, I interviewed her and her parents. Nothing seems unusual or suspicious.
I take it she's not married.
No.
She have a boyfriend that's angry with her, or any recent arguments with anybody else, or an incident that may have caused somebody to want to get even with her?
I'll check it out.
You mentioned our insured runs a realty agency. Does he have any other policies with us?
No.
Anything unusual in the underwriting file?
Apart from the close timing of the recent increase in coverage, no. In his application, Mr. Puckett lists a total of 8 properties. 209 Sherman Avenue is the only one on our books. I contacted the mortgage company listed on his application. He's had an occasional late payment or two, which isn't unusual considering today's economy. And technically, he's a month late now.
Okay. Well, we do have an incendiary fire. We want to eliminate our insured as having any motive or opportunity as quickly as possible. First, let's verify his presence at home on the day of the fire. Have our investigator do a canvass of the neighborhood. Second, check City Hall. Let's get a tax history on this property. Look for housing code violations, liens, anything like that. And while you're at it, check the other properties as well, see what comes up on them. And third, get hold of our insured's financial records. Let's verify those loss on rents, okay?
Okay.
Great.
Sample number 3. This is the carpet. We did some GC mass spec analysis. Show the presence of gasoline. Sample number 5. The fire debris. We also did some GC mass spec analysis. Show the presence of gasoline.
Hey, Doc, what exactly is a GC mass spec?
GC mass spec is an instrument. We heated the debris inside a can, and the vapors are absorbed on a charcoal tube. Then we flush the tube with a solvent, and a portion of that material is injected into a GC chromatograph, which is linked to a mass spectrograph. The result is a GC mass spec chart with recognizable peaks and valleys. Gasoline has a specific pattern, which is unique and can be differentiated from any other type of accelerant. Next, the tool mark. We did a microscopic examination of wood. From the door frame you submitted, we found the tool mark was on the inner surface of the lock, which indicates the force was from inside the door, not outside. The compression marks, diameter, and the pattern indicates it could be from a screwdriver. We then made a microscopic comparison between the testing mark made by the tip of the suspect's screwdriver and with the compression mark you collect from the fire scene. And the striation marks matched perfectly. Now, what about a blood sample? Serology exam the sample you collect from the door frame. Did some serology and DNA testing versus the sample from your suspect. First, we found it's definite human blood. The sample from the fire scene is type A. So is your suspect is type A. Then we did some PGM. The sample from the scene is 1+, and your suspect have the same type. We took one step further, did some DNA testing. We did the yield gel to tell us how much and what type of quality of DNA we have. The DNA extracted from your sample was documented under UV examination. We did some RFLP test. In addition, we also performed a PCR test. This procedure allows us to amplify, making copies of the small amount of DNA. In this case, the sample you collect from the fire scene and the sample from the suspect have identical DNA typing.
This sounds pretty incriminating, doesn't it?
Yes, let's put it this way. Approximately 43% of the population have type A. 10% have PGM1+. If we multiply 43% times 10%, give you 4.3% random population have the same type. With additional DNA result, DQ alpha, polymarker, D1S80, D5S100. The combination of those typing results in a random population, male Caucasian, is 1 in 17 million.
Just a reminder, we received the insured's proof of loss statement yesterday, which means we have 60 days to respond, and the clock is ticking, okay? So, here's what we know. Our expert has concluded that this fire was incendiary. He's also verified that there's evidence of a forced entry. Now, we spoke to the tenant, and she states she can find nothing missing. Of course, the forced entry could have been staged as a cover-up. We just don't know. We looked at the tenant, Tina Booker. She's 21, college student. Her parents confirmed she was home visiting on the day the fire took place, and frankly, I just don't see a motive for her setting the fire. Other people who had keys to the apartment include her parents, her boyfriend, a local contractor, and the landlord, who was our insured. We looked at the boyfriend. He was away at college out of state on the day the fire happened. And we looked at the contractor. Now, he was scheduled to do work in the building that day, but he got hung up at another job site and just never even made it inside. And last, we looked at the insured. Barbara?
Okay, the insured's application stated he had no previous losses in the past 5 years. Well, the pillar came back, and it's showing 2 additional fire-related losses with 2 different insurance carriers in that same time period. I have supporting documentation from the responding fire departments, and I'm checking with the prior insurance carriers regarding those claims. Now, our accountant has gone over the profit and loss statement, the tax returns, and cash flows. Bottom line, this guy was losing money on this property.
Are the losses real, or is it depreciation?
I don't know.
Get back to the accountant. Let's clarify that. Go on to the building history.
We checked with City Hall. He's been cited for multiple housing code violations, and in fact was under court order to bring the Sherman Avenue property up to code by the end of the month in which the fire occurred. Our search turned up 2 additional liens not listed on the application. The second and third mortgages were taken out within the past year. It would appear our insured has very little equity in this property.
That goes to motive. What about opportunity?
Well, our investigator did a canvass of the insured's neighborhood, and he found 2 teenage boys working on their car in their driveway on the day of the fire. They say the insured left his house about 9 o'clock and returned over an hour later. I took a recorded statement from them, and yes, before you ask, I got permission from their parents.
Good.
Did you get a non-waiver? Has that been executed?
That and the financial authorization, both fully explained and executed. They're in the file.
Well, why don't we give Mr. Puckett a chance to explain some of these discrepancies? Check your calendars. Let's schedule an examination under oath as soon as possible. Mr. Puckett, you're not being very cooperative with us. You haven't delivered the financial documents that we asked for. Now you're unwilling to clarify these conflicting statements about how you learned about the fire.
Quite frankly, my client's recollection of the issues is unclear at this time. As you're aware, he has a right to refuse comment on these matters.
Well, perhaps he can help us with this issue. In this proof of loss statement, you listed the only mortgage on 209 Sherman Avenue was with First Choice Bank and Trust. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Well, sir, I'd like to show you an abstract of your deed that we got from the county courthouse, which indicates that on June 2nd of last year, you took out a second mortgage for $25,000 with Gamel Business Associates. Is that not accurate? And here is a third mortgage on the same property dated August 18th of that same year with LHR trusteeship for an additional $25,000. Is this not accurate?
I'd like to go off the record at this time. I'd like an opportunity to talk to my client for a minute privately before we continue.
Mary, we're coming up on the end of the 60-day window to act on this case. I don't know what more we can do. It's clearly an incendiary fire. We checked his story, corroborated the facts, and determined he made material misrepresentation in the application and in the examination under oath. He failed to cooperate in a number of areas, and we have very strong circumstantial evidence to indicate he may have set this fire. He has financial motive, and we have witnesses that say he wasn't at home when he claims he was. It's all been documented, and it's all been done by the book. I want to deny this claim. I'd like you to draft a letter and send it over to me to look at before it goes out.
Investigator, I'd like to ask you to look at what's been marked Exhibit 23 for identification. Would you please look at that? Were you present when that photograph was taken?
Yes, I took the photograph.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the area of origin of this fire?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'd offer it as a full exhibit.
Your Honor, I have some questions about the validity of these photographs. May I question the witness?
You may.
Thank you. Investigator Todd, have you taken any courses in photography or had any formal training in this area?
No.
Are you familiar with this document? It is a guide to fire and explosives investigations prepared by the National Fire Protection Association. It's commonly referred to as NFPA 921.
Yes, I'm familiar with the document.
And is this a document that you use to guide you in your fire investigations?
Yes, among other reference materials.
Now, Investigator Todd, this document indicates that fire investigators such as yourself should take courses in photography. Yet you've told us that you have no such training. Incidentally, what type of camera did you use when you took these photographs?
I used a Pentax Sure Shot.
Oh, you used one of those idiot cameras, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Investigator, did you use what is commonly called a point-and-shoot camera?
Yes.
And isn't that a camera for people who really aren't very good at taking photographs?
Objection.
Sustained. Watch your step, counsel.
I'm sorry. Investigator Todd, did you use a detached flash when you took these photographs?
No, I did not.
You did not. I'm going to refer to this document, and specifically, I'm going to refer to page 54, section 8-2, 2.6. It reads, flash units are necessary for the fire investigator's work. The flash unit should be removable from the camera body. This practice is valuable in reducing the amount of reflection, exposing more depth, and amplifying the texture of the heat and flame-damaged surfaces. Does any of that sound familiar, investigator?
Yes, I'm familiar with that section, and that document, sir, is a guide. It suggests the use of that type flash equipment when there are no windows or other sources of external light. That was not the case in this situation.
The photographs are admitted. Let's continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. With the court's permission, could the witness come down from the stand so that we can show the photo to the jury?
The witness may step down.
Your Honor, may I approach, please?
You may.
Investigator, would you hold the photograph so that each of the jurors can see it? Where were you when this photograph was taken?
I was in the living room at number 209 Sherman Avenue in New Haven.
Using this photograph, which is Exhibit 23, can you point out the significant areas which you believe show where this fire started?
Exhibit 23 depicts the couch in the living room. Adjacent to the couch is a computer table. In this particular area, I noted a very unusual and deep char pattern which ran diagonally across the living room floor and to a doorway on the opposite side of the room, onto a rug in the hallway which led to a kitchen.
Why is that significant?
It's significant because it suggests the use of a trailer, which is a flammable or combustible liquid that's used to spread fire from one location to another.
Did you do anything else?
Yes, I did.